Hello there. In this short video I'm going to demonstrate the copy command, globbing, in which we'll use wildcards to perform actions on files. We'll use find, and we'll use less. Let's start by trying the copy command, taking a look at what I've got in the current working directory here. I've got some files and a couple directories. You'll see there's file 2. What if I want to copy that? I could just enter in the copy command the file that I want to copy and then the name that I want to copy it to. If I do that and list, you'll see now I've copied file 2 as file 3. I can also copy files into other directories by again telling the file that I want to copy, and in this case, rather than giving it a new name, simply where I want to copy it to. So I'm going to copy it to the source directory. Now if I change into the source directory and list it there, you'll see there's a copy of that file 2. And if I come back up and take a look, you'll see also that file 2 still exists in the original directory. Sometimes you are going to want to do something to a group of files, like delete them or move them or so on. You could do it one thing at a time, one command at a time, like remove a series of files by doing rm and then listing the file name and then rm again and listing the next file name. It takes a long time. Fortunately, with bash you can do file name pattern matching, or globbing, to perform a group of actions much more quickly. So let me show you quickly what that looks like. So I'm going to change into my source folder here. You'll see I've got a collection of files here. Let's say that I wanted to remove all of those C files at one time without having to do them individually. Well, this is where file name pattern matching or globbing comes in. So I could put in my RM, I can put in a wild card, this little star, and what that means is that I'm going to be searching for one or more characters. All right. I'm going to be searching for files that have sort of any name at the beginning, followed by a dot, and then the extension C. If I do that, you'll see now there's only one file left in there. There are an incredible number of ways that you can do file name pattern matching. We won't go into it in the video, but you should read carefully through the Linux lab manual from class to see some of the examples that you can do, particularly paying attention to the range expressions. Next, I'll very briefly show you the find command. It's used to find a file stored somewhere in the filed system. It's a very complicated command, tons of options. And you have to be very careful with the use of the file command, because if you choose to search like the entire system, it could take a very long time in order for you to find a specific file. So it's a good idea to narrow down the search to look in subdirectories where you think it might be. You'll also find that when you do the find command that you may get a lot of errors, specifically permission errors, saying that you're not allowed to search within a given directory. So I'll type in an example of one that I don't actually want you to use. If I were going to look for a file called fileO2.test and I wanted to search the entire system, this is the command I would use, only I would spell the word find correctly, of course. But I don't want to use that, as it would take forever, basically, to look for that. Instead, let's say that I had a sense that it is located below the current directory, and I think it's in the 220 directory or one of its subsets. I think that's where it's at. Then I could try that out, and it would return pretty quickly, finding that there is a file2.test file in the source directory, which itself is underneath the CSC 220 directory. Finally, let's take a look at the less command. If you use the cat command to display the contents of a file, as we've seen, that will show the contents of the file. So, for example, if I do cat file try.c, it will display all of the text that's within that file. And you'll see that it's a lot of text, so it scrolls off of the screen. If I want to just see a portion of the contents of a file and then scroll through it using the keys on my keyboard or the arrows on my keyboard, I can use the less command. And now it will show me just enough that will fit on the screen, and I can use the down arrow and scroll my way through, use the up arrow, scroll my way up, and so on. And then when I'm ready to get out of that, I can hit the Q on the keyboard and it'll bring me back out to my prompt.